Hi, and welcome to Popversations, and we are going to talk about The Invisible Man today that came out in February of this year, starring Elizabeth Moss.
And that's pretty much all we know. We don't know. We don't do a whole lot of research.
Who cares who directed
Directed
it,
by
really?
whoever.
Whoever.
Yeah,
We'll put it right here.
Yeah.
Or something.
Somewhere. But, yeah.
So basically we're thinking that we've seen how this movie is getting a lot of really, really good reviews. It's certified fresh and all that. And this is just one of those weird times where we just totally disagree. I have a friend who we're usually always on the same page, and he liked the movie and we did not like it. And we saw it in the theater and got the full experience and and everything.
A little bit of a miss, I'd say. Like, just not
Yeah.
what it could have been, I guess. But,
Yeah.
you know, you can bring up your issues first. I'll talk about mine after you.
Yeah. So my first big issue with this movie is actually the fact that it's even called The Invisible Man in the first place. I have read the classic novel, and the only thing it really takes from it is the title. There's no similarities really whatsoever. It's just there once was an invisible man, and that's the only thing they have in common. And I just think it's, I went to the bookstore and I see the novel has the movie poster for this movie on the cover of it, and I'm like, why? Like, it doesn't have anything to do with it. It's just a horrible marketing ploy, and
it's just not loyal to the source material. And we don't want to be.
I mean, you can always do something different, but when it literally has nothing to do with it besides the title, I just don't really see how you can put those two things together and think that that's gonna.
We don't want to sound like fanboys or cucks in this scenario. Is that cucks? We don't want to be material cucks. But I just feel like you're just using it to sell your movie. There's nothing. That there's nothing else to it. Because essentially, this is just a very basic sci-fi thriller. It's not a horror movie.
Yeah, and by itself, it's a totally great concept. It's an original idea, and we've been talking about how we want more of those to come about. So the fact that you have to associate it with the book when by itself it's such a good idea is just kind of stupid.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree.
And then I think the other thing was there are just so many plot holes if you really just stop and think about it. And we were just sitting there, and I would just kind of I usually don't do this in movies. I usually just think of it later. But while the whole thing was going on, I'm just well, she got an Uber to his house with her phone.
Yeah.
And then she goes in the house and she sees the suit, and she doesn't take a picture of it with her phone.
No, she hides it in the closet so she can dress up in it later.
And I mean, that would be totally fine if they had established that she dropped it and broke it maybe right before she came in or before that, and then she hitchhiked there or, something like that. If they had established that she didn't have her phone for some reason right before that, that would totally fix it. That would totally fix any issue that I had with it, but they never do that. So it's just basically just forcing you to accept that and move on. And it's no, you have to come up with even just a 30-second reason of why her phone wasn't working. It's why would you not take a picture and just show everyone?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then, stuff just moves too fast.
The scene in the restaurant sticks out, just the knife placement. It's just, maybe I'm being petty, but it was just how the knife moved, where he would have been standing. Did he have his hands out the whole time ready for
if you would see him without the suit on, it would probably look so comical. That's what I can't get over, and it's the same thing as that they did in the movie in the trailer where he's holding the phone in midair, and it just looks so weird to me. It looks funny. It doesn't look serious. It looks funny, and that was a good scene because I remember we were both oh my gosh, it was a shocking, cool thing that they did. But yeah, it's so fast. It's inhumanly fast.
And, again, it's totally possible for no one in the restaurant to see that.
That's true.
But at the same time, it's asking you to accept a lot of things. It's asking you to accept the fact that nobody in there saw it, and then the knife just happens to be in her hand in an instant.
Yeah.
From going across the table slitting her sister's throat, and then the knife getting flicked, and then her hands up like this.
And then she just grabs
like she was ready to catch it.
And I mean, you would probably grab it instinctively, and that's fine. But it just goes too fast, and it's just like the scene with the paint. It's such a good like visual and a good scene where she's pouring the paint on him when he's trying to come up the attic, like the ladder thing, and you see it and stuff. But then he walks down the hallway, and there's like 3 drips, and then.
If that.
And then in the sink, there's like a little bit of paint, and apparently got it all off of him in like less than 30 seconds when she followed him. And it's just, I just can't get on board. Like, it's such a cool scene, and then they just go straight to like, that would have been a better ending scene.
Well, the phone, by the way, like while she's still up in the attic, the phone that shows that he's taking pictures of you and all the evidence and everything that you're claiming is right there, and you don't grab it. So your whole scene, the scene that everyone talks about, that you said, it's not poorly done. Like when you see like as far as the big reveal is concerned, but there's illogical choices by the main character in Night, and a lot of people will probably argue with this and say, oh well, she's in so much distress, and you can't say that that's what you would do in that scenario. It's like, well, when I'm trying to prove my innocence, that I'm not crazy and that something's going on, yes I would. Yes I would. That's the problem. So I think it was just flubbed. You know, it could be an iconic scene, but it's asking me to accept way too many things and like just be okay.
It would be fine if there was just like 1 or 2 things. I would be totally fine with that. Like I'd be like, yeah, maybe not, but it's a movie and stuff. But when you have a movie that's established that it's very grounded in reality, and that they even have a very grounded scientific reason for his suit and why he's invisible in the first place, whereas in the novel it was kind of like a science experiment gone wrong. Like in this, it's very grounded. It's very like factual. It's real life. And so if you're not going to make everything else follow that, that's where that comes from, is you can't just establish certain rules and then not follow them anymore. Yeah. And I think my other main issue with the movie was very early in the movie, they established that he's in every room she's in.
Yeah. There's no suspense at all.
There's no suspense. So the first couple scenes, she's like in and out of the bathroom and stuff, and she's like, and that's the good part, because even, I think the coolest idea in that movie is that even if he's invisible, you as a human, you have like that sixth sense to know when there's a presence in the room, especially if it's a very small room. And she kind of has that, and that's such a cool part of it where you're like, I kind of feel like somebody's here, and sometimes maybe they're not, but you have that feeling, and there's a reason that you have that feeling. But then the rest of the movie, he's always in the room. Yeah. Like she's saying that he's always there, and it's like, well, what's the suspense then? And then they took out that scene in the trailer where it shows her staring at this chair,
and he's sitting in the chair,
and he's clearly sitting in the chair. Like there's an indentation, and like she's trying to tell her friends he's in the chair. And if you came into the room, you'd be like, yeah, somebody's invisible sitting in the chair. Like why else would it be like depressed and look like someone's sitting in it? And it's just, and then of course they took it out of the movie.
Well, the other thing too is like when the daughter gets hit, it's like, okay, yeah, but like she was so far away. Like, what did she do? And she was laying down like this, like on the floor, like talking to her. Like, what did she do? Did she left hook it, and then the daughter just didn't see it?
I mean, if she would have just kind of stared at her for a second and was like, "Did you just hit me?"
Yeah, she doesn't even question it.
And like, if she had that question a little bit in her mind for like a second, I would honestly be a little bit more on board with that too, because they do that a lot in movies, and I feel like there are people that are like that in real life where, you know, you see something and you're just like, okay, well, this is the only logical explanation. I can see why she would just go straight to that.
Yeah, I understand that, but
it would have been a little better if she was like confused and like kind of had that look like what just happened, and like, you know, and all that. But I know
especially given what they were talking about, it would have been completely random, and it just like I said, it kind of goes with the whole illogical thing to me.
And what was your other main? I think you had other.
It's fine. It's fine if you want to have a movie that you know, shows that if you're around somebody who's abusive and possessive like he is, and see, that's the other thing too. Just real quick, is that we already know this guy's possessive. It's from the opening shot. He's got his arm around her in the beginning. We already know he's nuts. She's being real quiet as she's trying to leave the house. She's clearly in a panic. We know this early on, so I think the whole brother element that they add into it, and just trying to show how manipulative he is, it's like, well, we already get that. I don't think that you need that in there. It just felt misplaced to me, and it just felt misplaced that his brother would go to those great lengths to be one of the guy, like to be the guy in the suit, essentially, and then just have the Adrian guy be away the whole entire time.
It seemed like they just added it.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like they just threw it in at the you could have easily just taken his scenes out. I think they just like added it in later.
You could have just left it at that. And you mentioned before we even started this to not ever show his face until the very end. You know, you can like hear his voice or, you know, something along those lines. There's kind of like a reveal in the end. You're like, oh, that's the guy. You know, kind of add a little bit of a shock factor at the end.
Yeah, because he doesn't. My thing with the actor that plays him is, no offense to him or anything, but he just didn't have like anything to do. And even in the end scene, he's pretending like he's not that person. So he didn't even have to act like that person the whole movie. So he really didn't do anything. He has like maybe 5 minutes tops of screen time. It's like you could have just taken that extra money, not pay, you know, not had another like big name actor or whatever, and just like had it not show his face. And I think that would have been so cool, because then everything that you know about him, you're taking on her word.
It would be more thrilling.
Because then you would be wondering, is he really like that? Or is she just like
crazy? Or is
she
nuts?
Yeah.
And that's what it's toying with. And that's fine, because it does that in the end, because, you know, she ends up putting on that suit that she hid earlier and killing him. And it's totally fine. But that whole idea of, well, did she become just like him because she had been through it so much, and there's all this trauma, and it's showcasing the trauma that one can face in a relationship with I'm totally down with that. That's fine. That's cool. That only works if I'm rooting for your main character in the end, and I'm just not. And that's the problem. Like, after she did it, I was just kind of like, oh, like I thought maybe she put somebody else in the suit, like maybe.
And that's the other thing too, is it's so fast.
It's so quick. She puts the suit on, and I know it's, you know, you just put your arms and your legs in it.
There's no way she did it that fast.
And then the whole thing is like the strength of her overpowering him in that scenario. Not saying that she's not strong. Not saying she's not strong. Let's not jump on me for.
Well, she caught him by surprise, also, I suppose.
True, but it is a little. It's a little hard to buy. I mean, this dude punched out a window in the opening scene, and he's pretty jacked.
That's true.
That's all I'm saying.
And it's just like the ending part. I literally did think for a while that somebody else like got in the suit, like her friend was in the suit.
That's what I thought.
The whole time, because it was impossibly fast, and that's just the thing.
I thought it was going to maybe be
a
thing where she like wasn't going to live with the guilt, like even though maybe she wanted him dead, like she wasn't going to live with that like trauma of knowing that she killed him. She's like, oh, somebody else took care of it. I can go live my life now.
And then like she could have like seen her friend again, and he could have like alluded to the fact that it was him, and she never found out. Maybe she really thought he killed himself. Yeah, that would have been. Geez, so many other things that you could have done. But I mean, her performances, there's nothing wrong with Elizabeth Moss's performance in it. There's nothing wrong with
we don't want to trash it. We're just trying to get everybody to understand that like we think that, you know, and I don't really want to pay attention too much to Rotten Tomatoes, but the fact that this has like a 93% fresh rating, I just don't understand it. I don't understand how you can sit back and really call this the next big horror movie when it's a sci-fi
It's
thriller.
A thriller at
best. It's okay. It's got good things about it. There's just a lot of the elements that was just poorly executed. So again, like Elizabeth Moss, she's great. She's perfect for it. I think like the opening credits and the whole like visual that they did with that, I think that there's a couple of really good shots. It has a very good overall like aesthetic. It has a very good look to it.
And I like the opening, like the first 10 minutes are perfect. It's like so tense, and you know, you're like, is he there? You know, is he gonna catch her before she makes it? And it's the first 10 minutes are perfect, and then after that, it just kind of
goes down.
It just a little bit too much, and the fact that they did such minimal music, there was really no score. I mean, that's really cool. And then I just think there's some good parts about it. Aesthetically, it's a good movie. Like, I think if you really want to turn your brain off, that's fine and enjoy it and stuff. But I think it's too many things they're trying to get you to accept.
They couldn't wait to get there, was the thing. They couldn't wait to get to all those parts. You know, the reason why, if you look at a movie like Vertigo and how long it takes for you to get to that end result. It's close. I would give it a solid C. It's worth, like, if you really think it's worth a watch, like, and you can make that determination for yourself.
But it's not bad, and let us know what you think about that movie, and we're just kind of like,
I mean, it's okay if people disagree.
It's all right.
It's not. I don't think our opinion right here is like a very popular one, but
yeah, we just had to say our piece. We've been holding this one in.
Yeah, for a while.
Been really holding that one in for a while, but.
Well, all my grievances are aired, so I'm done.
We feel so good now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm good.